Hey, my lovies. So we are back, and today with quite an interesting subject. So we'll be talking about self-trust and intuition, and this is really important because it's super connected with our confidence. So what happens is that our confidence after all this fighting, after a breakup, after everything we are going through, and also finding ourselves again in this new role can be quite low, right? So I don't want you to live like that. I want you to be you, your confident, beautiful self that trusts yourself, right? And that's why we'll do these exercises. Again, I have a course prepared for you. Sorry. A course prepared that will take us through it. But I think with confidence, it's really important for you to do a lot of journaling. So again, me with my workbooks and journaling prompts right down below, download them. And yeah, I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. So I think this is one of the subjects that can really bring a lot to your life, right? So now you're divorced. And what happened to me and many others, not necessarily to you as well, is that we kind of feel that we made this really bad decision. And what now, right? How could we make that decision? Okay, at the end, we are usually all more or less grateful for this experience. And because we know that if we married someone and spent such a big period in our life that of course we loved him and there were nice times, but however, some I mean, at least for me, it was like I couldn't understand how could I be so wrong, right? How could I like totally misjudged this person and decided to do these big things with him, right? So as a result of that, we can like get really self-conscious, like not sure in our decisions, thinking about why will this happen again in our next relationship? Will we misjudge everything? Like maybe after all this fighting, we don't feel so pretty, or I mean, I think a lot of us just realizes after divorce that it's really time to take care of ourselves, right? And this is a part of taking care of ourselves. So everything we did in phase one, like reconnecting with our body, has so much to do with our intuition, because we need to learn to listen our body again to be able to listen to our intuition, right? And our intuition is not wrong. So even if we misjudge the situation, usually we do have this weird feeling, right? Somewhere down. So I just want you to be relaxed. Sorry, to be relaxed, to be confident, and really trust yourself, right? So, self trust is belief in your own decisions and judgment. And intuition is your inner guidance system, often muted after major life changes. Because it's kind of hard to listen to our intuition where everything is new and might have some anxiety going on. It's really hard to predict the future, right? We know our brains like to predict the future to feel safe, and confidence grows naturally when you act on your intuition and trust yourself. So that's why this part is so important for you. And now you may guess, second guess yourself constantly. You may have some fear of making mistakes or being judged. Uh, Past relationship patterns are affecting your present choices. So, what I want to say here that is that you did nothing wrong, right? And you're still this strong person and you just came through this divorce, and this is something you can be really proud of, right? So yes, we do have some work to do, but you are allowed to trust yourself, right? Because you're not wrong, you are making the right decisions, right? Sometimes we have to learn something, and we all do some bad decisions somewhere on the way, but however, this is not the reason to stop trusting yourself, right? But it's kind of hard in these new situations. So we will start with self-awareness. Like, we have to notice when we start second guessing ourselves. And now this is the thing. This is actually also a part of limiting beliefs, and this is the thing with them. They can be so hidden in our like day-to-day talk, like when we are talking to ourselves in our mind, right? For example, like with all these thoughts that we have, like we might not even know this when we are second guessing ourselves, and this can be like small things. When for every time something falls, you say to yourself, oh my god, I'm so clumsy, everything falls from my hand, right? Or when you have a lot to do and you want to do things fast and you get a little bit stressed, and then everything starts to going wrong, like before you go, uh you spill your coffee on fresh clothes or some things like that, right? So your reaction in small moments tells you so much about what your limited beliefs and subconscious beliefs actually are. And these are the things that I want you to notice, right? So just observe these moments of fear, doubt, or indecisions. So, like, I want you to first only notice them, and second, to ask yourself, what has just happened? Why did I tell myself this? Is this really true, or is this just something I slowly convinced myself, or because of the circumstances, of course, into, right? So, on in first, and this, remember, this can be a process, and it can take like even few months before you really, because I want you to like really train yourself, right? To train yourself to caught to catch these moments when they happen, stop and think about, what have I just said to myself, right? And this is how we can catch the limiting beliefs. And I really want us to catch them, right? Because only if we do, if we recognize them, we can change them. So this is such an important work, because it can tell you so much about you. And the more you know about yourself, the more realistically you see yourself, so you can build more confidence, right? Because of course nobody's perfect, right? So if we know where we are going like a little bit off the road, what's our beliefs, what are our beliefs, what is our mindset, then we can repair it. And the more you will know about yourself, the more self-trust you can build, right? Because also, if you for example see that you pick wrong voice every time, for example, this is just one example, and if you see yourself doing, then you can like really recognize the correct characteristics they have. And when you start to, when you meet a new guy with the same characteristics, you know what's going on. So here's also one thing, like a little bit unrelated to our subject today, but I want to say it. Basically, we are choosing our partners, who are we falling in love with, based on what feels familiar, based on our attachment style. So these attachment styles can form like either in our early childhood or also later. So um, if we take a look at our childhood, and if our if we weren't sure how, for example, our mother or father will react, so if there was a little bit of chaotic circumstances where we were not sure how, what will happen next, right? We may feel like the world is not safe because it's not predictable, right? So this is just one example. I would dive into this in a separate course, but just to mention it. So basically, um, we will always look for in a partner what feels familiar. Again, our brain, right? So when it feels familiar, we feel kind of like at home, right? So it makes us feel in love because it's so familiar and so homey. And this is also this is so interesting. It's also like where the saying comes from, like it's too good to be true. Like when everything goes okay, it's either boring or too good to be true. Like why? No, it's not too good to be true. It can be true, right? But we are just not used to it if our past was totally different. So also what I need you to do later on is to like break this pattern, recognize it, break it, because we can like still in our adulthood, we can still shape our attachment styles. But it might take some practice, some self awareness, and also when we start a new relationship, it might feel a little bit weird, right? Because there must be something wrong, I mean, there's nothing wrong, it must be something wrong, right? So just keep that in mind, right? That a lot of things that we do are basically these patterns of how we react. So it's kind of really interesting about like to really become as much self-aware as we could be in our life. So and also there's another thing um, let's connect a lot of our patterns we are not aware of because of our defense mechanism, right? Because if we would like just face the whole truth, it would be maybe a little bit too much. And that's why we are discovering these things, like slowly uncovering them, slowly starting to understand what we are doing, how do we react, what triggers us, right? So there is no hurry in this process because for some things maybe we are simply not ready to, but that doesn't mean we will never be. Okay, we just need some time and go slowly, right? Because first, your feelings, your health, that's so important. So we still have our whole lives, right, to like really work on ourselves. Yeah, so just on unrelated no, notice. So when do I feel unsure of my choices? This is like it's really good to catch ourselves in these feelings, in these moments, yeah. Now, we can practice trusting ourselves with small daily decisions. So how does this look like? For example, if you promise yourself that you will do something small like exercise for 10 minutes and then you really do it, you are like teaching yourself that you can trust yourself, right? So keeping the word to yourself will make you feel less disappointed, less like really gain confidence, right? And these can be small things that you can like really try day to day. And another thing, don't promise yourself something that you probably won't do, right? Because by now you probably already know yourself enough to know that maybe now it's not the right time to start this diet, right? Because maybe you feel a little bit out of, I don't know, balance. So maybe you should like first really take care of yourself and then implement the changes, even though we know they are good for us, right? Sometimes it's just not the right time, but I leave this to you to assess what's right for you, right? So always look for the evidence, because we can look for the evidence that we are either bad at something or that we are good for something, right? So try to really have this positive um how to how positive like awareness about how you will think and what kind of evidence you will look, because we can always find what we are looking for, right? But the fact is that maybe our expectations for ourselves are just too high, like perfectionism, trying to do everything at once, right? Maybe we just need to slow down and like really be realistic, right? Don't put yourself in too much work. So, for example, I was for me that was like having a like really nice organized house, right? But that just simply with all the work with a kid, with cooking, coming home late, that just wasn't something that I could like that I could do in this period of life, right? But that doesn't mean it will be always like this, right? Because I mean, now I work from home, so I have more time in between and I can also do that. And also, my daughter is bigger and she can help me and stuff like that. And it's not so messy anymore, right? So the situations change, but we just need to like have realistic expectations. What can we actually do in this period, right? Because this will definitely boost your confidence if you are not expecting something that's basically impossible, you know. And of course, celebrate every minor wins, because one day you will just simply wake up and you will see, oh, I did that, right? I said that I will go for a 10-minute jog and I did that. That's just one example. So then we come to our intuition, like how to start to listening to our inner voice again. So here a lot of journaling, like asking yourself what feels right for me. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, sometimes it happened to me that I wanted to do a workbook and I was like, what should I even write? I don't know. So I mean, that's also okay, right? Because it also tells you something about yourself, that today you're maybe just not ready for it and you can do some other work that calls you, right? So just like be really, if you feel something, don't force yourself, because this is our work, our journey, and it's so individual. And also, maybe you will feel like I can skip one step because this is not a problem for me. And that's okay, right? Just try to listen to yourself and what's calling you, right? And what's the right thing to do today. So, again, meditation or quiet reflection, such powerful things to like really start connecting again with ourselves, with our essence, and trust ourselves. So notice God's reactions without judgment. But at the end of the day, sometimes, I mean, we can just feel like something's not right. So it happened to me with my partner that I had this feeling for like over a year or two in the that I couldn't explain it, because when I asked myself what's wrong, I didn't know the answer, right? But now I know what was actually wrong. So basically, just like if you notice gut reactions, then you know there must be a reason behind it, right? So it's really good to like not not lie to ourselves, because again, lying to ourselves will bring us to like stop trusting ourselves, because I mean it makes sense, right? So just like really everything that you feel in your body or in your mind, just like try to understand it, as you try to translate it to your body language. What is it telling you, right? Now, build confidence through action. So, slowly, when you're going through this, you can take bigger steps that are aligned with your intuition. So, again, not something that's not aligned with you, but something that you really feel is right, right? Always support yourself, surround yourself with supportive people, because how people around us look at us means can change our personality, mindset, our the way we act, the way we react also, like so drastically. Also, maybe you notice now, because you just after the divorce, that like when we are trying to break up with a partner and he believes all these bad things about ourselves, or maybe not, it's again, but however, if we have somebody that's like not really, that doesn't see our value, even though if we have it, that doesn't see our value, it can we can be really fast at not seeing it ourselves, right? Because the people that are around us are important to us, of course. They are part of our daily life. So, of course, it's almost impossible for their beliefs to not, or not even our beliefs, for what they say to not shape our reality. So, like, always try to like be around supportive people. So, if this is a job environment and if you see it's toxic, I would really encourage you to like, I understand that sometimes we cannot like just find a new job or anything, but I would really encourage you in that case to like think about a long-term plan that could bring us somewhere else, right? Because any kind of toxic environment, it's, I mean, it it can poison us, right? So we cannot grow in environment like this because we just use too much time to just thinking about what a toxic environment this is. What, I mean, it doesn't make sense. If you really want to grow, you have to create a peaceful environment everywhere, right? At home, which you did, in your work, with your friends, like, ideally no drama, right? So you can also do daily affirmations, and affirmations work, but they have to be supported with actions, right? So don't just tell yourself you are pretty, do something about it so you will feel pretty. So maybe like anything you can do whatever calls you, right? Just like take these few minutes and support this affirmation, no matter what kind of affirmations we are talking about. Now, we could be less confident right now because we might fear of making the wrong choices again. Our old habits can like just jump in. We can have a fear of moving forward and doing everything alone. I mean, this situation right now could be pretty unpredictable, right? And solutions are there are solutions, but there's no magic pill. Nothing will work from today to tomorrow. If something works from today to tomorrow, you will fall back after a few days, right? It's like quick diets, yo-yo effect. Always when something works really fast with almost no effort, you will fall back. And that's why I really encourage you, and I think it's so much better to just go take our time, go step by step, because that means that we can really like create a sustainable change, right? So just like try to remind yourself, try to catch yourself in the moment, try to remind yourself of your value because you are incredible. Journal, like make small practice steps. You can do exercises, everything. It might seem like these things are not working, but you need to train yourself for your body to really feel them. So self-confidence, self-trust and confidence grow gradually, and you have to practice daily even with small choices. If you have a bad day and you didn't do anything, that's also good, right? Because sometimes we just need a day off. So start today by making one small decision for yourself and noticing how it feels, because this is how you train yourself to like really start to notice your feelings, your reactions. Start to like listening to yourself and your intuition. So thank you so much and see you in the next video.